Hi, folks. I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical
Together
therapist.
we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Today, Brad, we're going to talk about 7 things you must know, not should know, before you buy hiking boots or shoes.
Right, exactly. I'm
And
glad.
you've become an expert on this because you just went through this.
Well, a pseudo expert.
But you consulted with a real expert.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and of course the internet.
So that makes you a real expert.
Yeah. Okay, so
Speaking of the internet, Brad,
Oh,
by the way,
right.
if you are new to our channel,
Yep.
please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on how to stay healthy, fit, pain-free, and we even talk about fashion somewhat times. And we have a subscription button here and there. We upload every day. Also, please wander over to Facebook and like us. It's really rather pathetic. Brad and I need to be liked.
yeah.
So,
Well, give us a break. See what you can do for our
yeah, right.
self-esteem.
Help us out.
Okay, so hiking shoes. This is something. I've hiked all my life, not aggressively, but I hunt and get out in the woods.
So this is really for hunters too, though.
Oh,
like you said.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Hikers, hunters, or even the casual person that wants to go out and doesn't do serious hiking. But we went to
Sure.
a trip to Alaska just in the last couple of weeks, and I thought we better get some decent shoes. Because in the past, when I go hiking in La Crosse, it's hilly and stuff, I just take my old running shoes.
This sounds like my method.
I take my old running shoes and I don't care if they get dirty, and go with them. And I thought, well, they work pretty good,
I can see it where there's a lot of problems with that.
Right.
One, just even ankle stability. I mean,
Well, that's kind of true, but they do make hiking shoes
they are low.
that are low as well.
Sure.
So we thought, well, if we're going to be up in the mountains in Alaska, we better get some serious shoes.
Sure.
So we thought we better do some research first. So we'll kind of boil it down. The first thing you need to know is what kind of terrain do you plan on being on?
Terrain.
Terrain.
Yeah,
Yeah, what did I
so-
say? Train?
Train. Yeah, what kind of training?
Yeah.
You got?
Okay, what kind of terrain are you going to be on? Is it going to be rocky? Is it going to be hilly? Is it going to be shale, like in mountains where you have a lot of shale where the rocks is loose? Or is the rocks are going to be the hard, spiky kind of rocks that, when they dig into your foot, it's not very comfortable. You need a certain kind of sole
Sure.
for that as well. And wet, moisture. Are you going to be walking through a lot of wet area, or is it going to be down in Arizona where it's going to be dry? All those things are going to take into consideration.
What if you're doing all of them?
Well,
Do you
that's a
take
good
into
point,
account?
right? Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. And
Okay.
it's a judgment thing. You have to
Sure.
kind of take it in and roll the dice a little bit.
Probably go with what the majority of the conditions are going to be. I'd
Sure,
say,
right, exactly. So in our situation, we were going to some mountains and we could expect some wet. Probably nothing dry like Arizona for sure. But anyways, the next big thing is when you wear a hiking shoe or boot, it needs to fit snug.
Okay.
Okay, that was a big thing. My cousin, who's a professional guide in Alaska, he says, get a shoe that fits snug so when you're hiking on the hills, your foot's not pistoning back and forth, sliding, creating blisters, and you don't get that feel for the terrain.
Lack of stability too, I imagine. Right.
Sure,
'Cause
right.
Your ankle's just like you said. It needs that constant feel to know where it's at.
Exactly,
so-
and that's very true with a lot of activities when you have a high level. You want that snug fit.
Sometimes hard to find a shoe that fits you that's not too tight but yet still fits snug.
Which
right?
is my next point, Bob.
Sure.
When you go shopping for these, if you want to go on the internet and buy them off the internet, you could do that.
Could be a little
However,
tough.
right. So this is what we did. This is the result of our shopping spree, my wife and I. I got one shoe and she got 3. But she has
We're not judging.
No, but you know how it is. She has
Right. Different styles,
yeah,
different tastes.
I'm happy with the
Thought
results
this was
here.
cute.
You're right.
I'm sure.
Well, look at this. And this does represent a lot of different
Array.
You're right. So look at this is actually a sandal, but it's made more for hiking. And right away, Lonnie, her first thing she came over and she said, "What is this one? This looks neat."
Yeah.
And it's a nice,
Very thick sole.
Right. Yep. This is a Keen, and it's about $100. It's washable, and the sole is tough. You can really tell the difference in a hiking sole versus
A regular sole.
a running shoe or a walking shoe. So they're very tough.
Keen, so K-E-E-N.
Right. And if you look at this, it's got a really nice toe guard, which is going to help your toe if you bump
see
it
that,
into a
Lonnie?
rock.
Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you know, obviously this is not good for hiking in Alaska in the mountains.
Sure.
But, you know, for other things, if you're, you know, doing
A
some...
little more casual.
Right,
I mean,
yeah, but you're
not
still
as-
going to be on some rocks and
Sure.
stuff or getting some water. It's going to, they look nice. It's going
Are
to
these
hold
waterproof, by the way?
up. Well, they say you can actually wash them, submerge them in water and clean them and wash them. We
Because
haven't
I'm
done
wondering,
that
could
yet.
you wear these like when you go inner tubing or something? When
Oh,
you're
that,
on the creek,
sure.
in a
Yeah.
creek.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if they actually advertise that, but I'm sure you could if they say you can wash them. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that when we go boating sometime. We'll
Yeah,
jump
you
on it
know how
too.
that is because you hit sharp rocks on the bottom.
Oh, right,
and-
exactly.
and-
Kind of like an aqua shoe, a heavy-duty aqua
Yeah,
shoe.
yeah.
Let's go to the next one. The next thing you need to decide, did you want the low tops or the high top like on here? And I think that's a personal thing. If you're going to be hiking on hills, uneven surfaces, a lot of rocks, I personally, I went
want
with
the ankle
I went with the
stability.
ankle support.
Yeah.
And I think that's big.
It
you
can
know.
really depend on what kind of ankles you have, too. I
Right.
mean, do you have ankles that tend to turn?
Exactly.
I think you're going to want to go along with
Right.
the higher
Exactly.
shoe.
If you don't, or you don't think you're going to be hiking that seriously, you don't want the high ankle because it's not comfortable for you. This is a great option right here. And one thing we
See, this almost looks like a regular tennis shoe to me.
right, but if you look at this, it's got a Vibram sole. Okay.
Okay.
So what it's a real rigid sole, and if you walk on rocks or uneven surface, that's going to kind of poke in and make it uncomfortable, which I always notice on my running shoes. When you have these on, you really notice
don't-
that you can still feel it, but it's much more comfortable.
Wow.
And they just one of these hiking shoes, you'll just notice a difference immediately from a running shoe when you're climbing up uneven surfaces, rocks, things are peeling away, and you're going uphill
Quite a
or
difference.
downhill. Right, exactly.
Yeah, do you remember how much this one was?
Yeah, this one here was about $110.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
retail, you know.
An expensive tennis shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And this one's a Merrill. You know, we found that they're pretty. You know, they make a good product.
So did you want to reveal now how many shoes you tried on and how many your wife tried on?
Good point. To get this shoe, which is waterproof, by the way, if you want waterproof, you're going to be in wet area. Oftentimes, the waterproof, they're what is that material? I'm thinking of it here. You know.
We'll come up with it later. So it wicks away the material? Or
Right,
water, or-
right. It doesn't allow the water to get in, but it's supposed to be able to breathe. Okay.
So you wanted waterproof and you wanted ankle stability
Right.
and you wanted a snug fit.
Right, and I wanted the Vibram sole, so I got all four of them here.
Vibram.
Exactly. Gore-Tex.
Gore-Tex. is what you're
Like,
trying to think of.
how could I not remember that? Anyways, so Gore-Tex, you got the waterproof. I tried 11 pairs of shoes on.
Before you found one that
I went to Rogan Shoes in La Crosse there in Alaska, and my wife she was great. She was handing me shoes left and right. I had a big pile of boxes here, and I'm trying them on.
So
and
it was different styles, not different sizes.
little different styles, not sizes so much. A little
Okay.
bit of everything. Okay.
And it took 11, 12 tries before you found
11
one.
pairs of shoes, and as soon as I put some on, I knew immediately I did not like them.
Okay.
I put them over here, then I had a box I thought, a pile that I kind of liked. So I had like 3 or 4 when I was done. You know, I had 7
Sure.
pair over here, 4 pair over here. Then I tried them on again, and then there was 2 pair that I thought, oh, they both feel pretty good. It's like they're snug, they fit good, they feel good. I walked with them, and then I put 1 pair on my left foot, and the other
Sure.
pair I put the other one on. So I had 2 different pair, and
I've
I
done
walked
that before. I've done
and
that
this
with
is what
running
I came
shoes.
up with. My wife tried at least 40 pair on between all these shoes.
Not judging.
Not all at the same store, but you know, there's nothing wrong with that, and she got what she wanted.
Sure.
That's a big thing. Now this pair right here, this is called a Vasque, V-A-S-Q-U-E. This is a really nice high-end hiking shoe. It's about $175, and it's got the waterproof, it's got the Vibram sole, and it's a sturdy shoe.
Yeah, not overly heavy.
No,
either.
it's not. And I like it because
Neither is that one.
when you want snugness around the ankle, you can see there's 3 steel shoelaces that
Sure.
I don't even know what you call them here, but it's not where it goes through the
Not
hole.
like the eyelet. It's
Right. And that
like a
really,
hook almost.
right, a steel hook, and that really makes a difference when you snug it up around your
Sure.
ankle. One thing I found is when I hike, going uphill is always a little easier actually than going downhill, particularly with your shoe. When I get to the top of the hill, I would tighten my shoes up a little bit because going down here, your foot slides to the front and then your toes get jammed into the front. So you want a snug fit to minimize that.
Good tip.
All right.
Yeah, so snug up before you head down.
Exactly. So overall, I'm thinking if you've got all this information, you really have a pretty good idea of what to look for, at least a clue, you know.
So the question now I have for you, Brad, is that if you have these on and you run into a bear, do you run away with these, use these to run?
Actually, this is a good question because my daughter, when we were in Alaska, she was actually in Montana at Glacier National Park, and she was hiking, and both of us looked into bears and how to deal with bears, seriously. So we knew.
Especially grizzly bears.
Right, right. Although I found out black bears can be just as lethal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a black bear that killed a 16-year-old in Alaska 4 weeks ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, in an event, in a running event.
Oh, wow.
In a trail run. Anyways, so I was worried, a little worried as a parent would be about their daughter in Glacier hiking, going on a 6-day hike, camping every night out in the woods, you know. And sure enough, she was at a group, and there was a group of, 6, 8 people there, and they were around the campfire area, and she went to take her backpack to the tent, which is 20 yards away or so, and no one was back there. She set her backpack down, and as soon as it made that noise, behind the trees, she said within 5 feet, a grizzly bear head pops up right in front of her, and she was just...
This is a parental nightmare here.
She's telling me this after the fact, and so I was like, she's safe. And she said she just got up like this, and she had her bear spray in her hand, which really wouldn't have helped because there's the lock on there. She didn't have the lock undone. At that distance, you have no time. And she was just frozen. With the grizzly bear, if you run, or a black bear, if they have cubs, you really don't have a chance.
Sure.
They're going to get you.
Yeah.
They're going to protect their cubs. This was a single bear, obviously. The bear, she said, actually got up. It wasn't a full stand, but it got up higher. So it was about eye to eye with her and looking at her, and she was just didn't know what to do. And this is what she said. And then I quote, she said, "Hey, bear, hey." And she started backing up very slowly with her hands like this, "Hey, bear, hey." And she estimated about 8 seconds. I don't know how she figured 8 seconds, but so it wasn't really long, but it probably felt like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So the bear just stared her eye to eye, didn't move, and she was backing up slowly. And then he went down and off.
So she did the right thing. You back up slowly. You don't run.
Right.
You keep eye contact. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm not sure about the eye contact.
I suppose you want to know what's doing.
Right. And then I did some research on this afterwards. And if the bear does attack, your best defense is to lay down, cover the back of your neck, either lay prone. I had 2 different references. One said prone, the other said curl up to protect your legs, and do not make noise, do not wiggle. They just play dead. Even if because this guy, he's actually getting bit, and he just continued to.
Do not scream.
Exactly.
Wow.
So anyways.
Asking a lot. But thank God your daughter's fine.
Exactly. So
don't run away from grizzly bears.
If you're hiking in the mountains, you should do a little research on bear activity.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching.